What would it feel like to be truly, deeply happy, regardless of your circumstances? Did you know that happiness is a choice and not a result? That you can create your life on purpose? Join us now to learn more. This is Time to Rise and Thrive. And here's your host, Jackie Mott.
Hello and welcome, welcome. Happy Christmas Eve. That's where we are right now. Isn't that fun? So today is going to be all about Christmas, of course, because this is our Christmas show. So today's show is called Christmas. It's the most wonderful time of the year. And whether or not you celebrate Christmas, there are so many different things that people are celebrating at this time of the year. I'm just going to invite you to not maybe be so focused on the words of that and just be in the energy of the holiday season with me today. What do you think? It's an awesome time of the year. And oh, I forgot. I meant to grab something and bring it over, but I'll tell you about it. I'll tell you about it in just a minute. So, what do we do here on Time to Rise and Thrive? On Time to Rise and Thrive, we talk about our subliminal soundtrack. We talk about getting it working for us rather than against us. We talk about recognizing our own unique beauty, our value, and the contribution that you are to the world. So, if you are somebody who's looking to explore some of those ideas, I'm just saying this is a great place to be on Friday afternoon. So, what is today's show all about? Whether or not you celebrate Christmas, this is the time of year when you can choose. You can choose to be joyful or not to be joyful. You could be a Grinch. I don't know. But you can choose to be joyful. You can choose to create your life using that joyful energy. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Joy and gratitude are tremendously generative energies. And when you tap into those, what do you think you might create? You're going to create things that are joyful, that are contributions to you in a way that gives you an opportunity to feel even more grateful than you already do. And we're going to talk about grateful as we go through, because one of the challenges that I hear from people is like, what do I have to be grateful for? Well, I could start a list. I could start a list that would be a mile long inside an hour. So we'll talk about how to use that energy, how to tap into and create that gratitude energy in your life. And this is a great time of year to do that. So before we get into the juicy stuff of today's show, I really would like to just share with you what I mean when I say subliminal soundtrack. If you're a new listener, then this will be important for you to listen to. So subliminal soundtrack is this loop of messages that plays in the back of our minds all day, every day. It's made up of little bits of information that you've picked up throughout the course of your life. So every conversation, every lesson you've learned, every relationship you've shared with somebody, every single experience has given you information that you've stored back there on that subliminal soundtrack. And you've used that information to create your belief systems. So, what does it mean to love or be loved? What does it mean to be successful? What does it mean? What does anything mean? What does it mean to be a contribution to other people in your world? What does Christmas mean? Everything is stored back there on that subliminal soundtrack. So, two very important things to understand about the subliminal soundtrack are: the first is what we believe to be true will be true for us, even if it's based on completely incorrect information. So, when we're looking at this idea, have you ever been in a position where you are with someone else and you experience something or you see something, and their feelings, their take on what has just happened or what you've seen or what you've experienced is completely different from your own? Has that ever happened? I mean, we see it all the time, right? The news, this article or this show or this whatever it might be shows up for one person meaning this, and there could be somebody right beside them experiencing exactly the same thing that has a totally different take on what just happened, right? Is it funny? Is it sad? Is it hard? Is it easy? All of that stuff is what we have created in that subliminal soundtrack because of our belief systems. Okay, so that's the first piece. The second piece is that we create our circumstances to support the belief systems that we carry. So, your life, your circumstances, the possibilities that you have, are, the possibilities that you believe are available to you will either shrink or expand depending on what you believe is possible. Okay. So, this is why we see some people who are in exactly the same circumstances thrive and grow and soar, and other people sort of not. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you? You have a person. So we'll go back really quick to my experience. I became a mom when I was 17, and the choice that I made at that point was to go on welfare because I didn't really know what else to do. So I went on welfare and I went back to school. Now, I know people who were in exactly the same circumstance, right? There was a school that I went to that had like a group home, I guess you'd call it, attached. And some of us lived in that residence of that facility. So some of us lived there throughout our pregnancies. And I got to know some people really well. And some of them sort of got stuck in some of the same stuff that I got stuck in. And others of them blew right past us and created completely different circumstances for themselves than we did. So this is how it shows up. Okay, this is how it shows up. You've got two people with exactly the same circumstances or very similar circumstances that go in completely different directions. Okay, so we create our circumstances to support the belief systems that we carry. Those are the two really important things to understand about the subliminal soundtrack. The other piece is that if you're not happy with where you're at right now, if you're not happy with your current circumstances, if you would like something different in your life, you can change that stuff. You can change that stuff so that it will propel you toward the things that you desire rather than causing you to feel blocked or even worse, to sabotage yourself. Okay. So it can all be changed. That's the really great news. So, how does this relate to what we're talking about today? How does this relate? So, Christmas time it's an interesting time. So, we're going to talk about tapping into what is unique about this time of the year. What do we do differently at this time of the year? Most of us, anyway. And I'm going to guess that if you're with me on this show, that you're probably somebody who also celebrates holidays and all of that kind of stuff. If you don't, then maybe, who knows, maybe this episode will help you to change that. I don't know. At any rate, what do we do differently? So there's a thing that happens out in the world, and there are things that happen, in our homes, in ourselves, all of that kind of stuff. One of the things that I've really noticed in a lot of ways about this time of the year is that we sort of slow down a little bit. And there tends to be a little bit more, usually, a little bit more kindness and courtesy. People are more inclined to do things like hold the door or allow somebody into traffic. Not always, not always, but it is a thing that a lot of us sort of do a little bit more of this time of the year than maybe we do the rest of the year. We also think about the people that we love, right? If you're fortunate enough to have young kids with you at this time of the year, isn't there a part of you that gets excited to see them, Christmas Eve when they're all excited and waiting for the big guy to run to jump down the chimney with his sack of toys? Isn't that fun? Or like to see them open their presents on Christmas morning, or any number of other things. Maybe whatever your traditions are, maybe you read stories with your little ones in onesies and you're all cuddled up, whatever it is. But when we have little kids around us, there's just this sort of magical energy that we can tap into, even more so than when we don't. But we also maybe think about, we reminisce about the people that we've shared our lives with. We think about those people. One of my favorite Christmas memories, and it was like one of those things that happened each year. My grandmother lived with us when we were growing, or when I was growing up, and I would come in inevitably sometime early December. She'd be starting to prepare for the big family meal, and we had a really large extended family at that point. So there was always probably 40 people or more at our Christmas celebration. So she would be starting to bake, and I'd come in and, my nose would be cold, and, you know, I would smell, and you always knew what she was up to because I'd smell all of those yummy, yummy things that she was busy concocting and creating in the kitchen. And she'd been at it the whole day. And then you'd go into the kitchen. And, oh, good Lord. There'd be like everywhere cookies and tarts and pies and, squares and all kinds of yummy goodness would be all over the kitchen. Right. So that's one of my favorite memories because it makes me feel warm inside when I think about her and how much joy she got out of creating those yummy treats for everybody else. So that's one of those natural things that happens. We reflect, we reminisce, we think about the people that maybe we don't think about all the time, right? We think about those things that we've enjoyed in prior years. We think about the people that we are so blessed to have in our lives now, and maybe the things that we're looking forward to having with those people in the future, don't we? It's a time of reflection. It's a time of celebration and joy and play and, indulgence, right? We allow ourselves treats at this time of the year that most of us would not eat on a regular basis, don't we? So, what would life be like? I'm just going to ask you to consider this. What would life be like for you if you could tap into this idea of gratitude and love for the special people in your world, and also of, enjoyment, in indulgence, and, not limiting yourself. So a lack of limitation in the things that you were going to enjoy. What could shift in your world if you could live from that place, even some of the time? Because that's one of those, remember, that's one of those things we can change that stuff if we want to. So if my belief system supports me allowing myself to have that time where I think about my loved ones on a regular basis, as opposed to just at this time of the year, and maybe I allow myself to enjoy things as I go through my year. Doesn't mean that we have to go overboard, but that tapping into, life is meant to be lived. I don't know if Kim is going to be able to do this as quickly as we need to do this, but there's this thing that I've seen online over and over and over and over again. And it talks about, when my life is over, I want to slide in thoroughly used up at the end of my life. What could our lives look like if we were determined to enjoy our lives and the time that we have on this planet? That's what we're going to be talking about on today's show. How do we tap into that joy? How do we tap into gratitude and create from that space? When we create from that space, what we actually do is we create high vibe stuff, right? We create more to be grateful for. We create more to be joyful about. We create from that space, and our lives can shift just like that. It is amazing how quickly things can start to shift for us when we open ourselves up and when we live from a place of joy and gratitude. There's a sign, and there's a reason that I have this sign behind me. Happiness is not a destination, it's a way of life. So you can choose. You can always choose. You can always choose how you want to live your life, how you want to approach things, all of those things. So on that note, I'm going to head us to our first break. So you're with me on Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I'm your host, Jackie Mott. Today we are talking about Christmas. Today we are talking about tapping into all of these yummy, juicy and energies at the most wonderful time of the year. So stick with us for a minute. We will be right back.
What do you tell yourself when you are not listening? This question came to Jackie Mott when she was trying to find peace and purpose in the wake of tragedy. She began to understand that a lot of her pain and choices had been the result of how she perceived herself and her place in the world. And she set about creating a new subliminal soundtrack to support her in creating a life of abundance, joy, and fulfillment. To learn how she did that, and how you can too, go to JackieMott.com. Follow her on social media, and join Jackie on Time to Rise and Thrive, Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 Central Standard Time, 11 Mountain Standard Time, and 10 Pacific Standard Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
When Jackie's husband ended their 27-year relationship without warning, that conversation was her own personal ground zero. To move forward, she had to clear the rubble, learn who she truly was, and completely rebuild her life. That required her to challenge a lifetime's worth of conditioning and limiting beliefs and recreate herself from the ground up. Jackie has channeled all of that learning and wisdom and shares it to support others who want to break free from limiting beliefs and start living the life they desire and deserve. For more information, go to JackieMott.com or email Jackie directly at Jackie@JackieMott.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Time to Rise and Thrive with Jackie Mott. To participate in the program, join us in the chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. For more information about Jackie's programs or to download your free copy of 5 Steps to Create a Mindset Wired for Success, visit JackieMott.com or click the social media links and follow Jackie online. Now, back to the program.
Hello and welcome back to Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I'm your host, Jackie Mott. Today we are talking about Christmas. It's the most wonderful time of the year, and how you can use this energy, how you can tap into the joy, the abundance, the playfulness, the gratitude of this season in order to create. What would you like to create in 2023? What would you like to create? It's amazing what can happen. And I'm going to share with you what did happen for me. This is what I'm talking about. This is why I share these things with you. So last year at this time, I was doing one of my shows, and I just had this idea that really made me think some deep thoughts. I was thinking about, like, we used to believe in magic. We used to believe in all of these things that would happen only at this time of the year. You know, like Rudolph had a red nose, right? Rudolph had a red nose that would lead them through that fog and get them to where they needed to be. There were so many magical things. And by the way, that's another one of my favorite Christmas memories is my nanny, my grandmother. And she actually, I don't even know what she did, but somehow or other, she had me totally convinced that Rudolph was outside the window. There was a red blinking light that went on. I don't know who did it, but do you see what I'm saying? Right? So we believed those things, though, didn't we? We believed that things could happen that we weren't expecting. We believed, like, think about nature. Think about how magical it is to watch a child who sees a butterfly or sees a different type of plant or any number. The childlike piece is, in my humble opinion, one of the best places to access that magic that we can tap into and use to create our stuff. So last year, I'm having this deep thought process as I'm getting ready to record one of our holiday shows. And the show was called Believe All Things Are Possible. So I was tapping into this and really kind of pulling it apart. And a few weeks later, I decided that that show needed to become a book. And not only did it become a book, but we launched it about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and it hit #1 international bestseller status. And it hit that within a couple of days. I don't even know exactly how it happened, to be perfectly honest, but somehow or other, people were ordering it. So I don't know if people were searching, Believe. I don't know exactly how it happened, but before we even announced that it was up live on Amazon, people were buying it in volume enough for it to start to rank on these bestseller lists. So this is what I'm saying to you. We don't know what's possible. So I'm going to share with you one of the really important tools is that our mind is an amazing thing, okay? But our mind is limited at the same time. Its main jobs are literally to process information so that it can tell us what to do under certain circumstances and also to protect us. Okay. So our mind knows what to do when we run up against this situation. Maybe it's driving a car and to pay attention. And if somebody runs out in front of you or, starts to swerve into your lane, you know what to do. Your mind goes like that. So it's a wonderful thing, but it's also very limited because it's limited to what it already knows. So there are literally millions of people out there in this world, probably billions, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. There are so many possibilities for things that could happen depending on, any number of factors that could change. Do you see what I'm saying? So a few years ago, I didn't have this show. If I didn't have this show, then last Christmas, I wouldn't have had that, probably wouldn't have had that deep thought process. And this likely wouldn't have happened. So that's where our mind is something that we need to open up. We need to allow for those things to show up because we don't know what could happen. We don't know what circumstance or what person might come into our life or what opportunity might show up at a moment's notice. We have no idea until it happens. And when we're open to those things, when we're open to the idea that there are literally millions of possibilities in this world, and I only know so many, so I'm just going to open up and allow things to show up that I have no way to expect because I don't know about them yet, right? That's what we need to do. That's where we need to focus our attention, is on that space of possibilities that I don't know about yet, because that is, you know, uh, I don't know how this happened. I don't know how the book went #1 international bestseller inside, I think it was 72 hours of being uploaded onto Amazon. I don't know how it happened, but it happened. So when we are open to possibilities, it's amazing the kinds of things that can show up for us, but we have to be open. So here's the thing. I'm gonna sort of hammer this one again because it is really important for us to understand. We create our circumstances to support the belief systems that we carry. So when we're talking about this idea of there are literally millions of possibilities of things that could change, of things that could happen, of people that could walk through our door, of any number of things that we don't know about yet, we create the circumstances to support the belief systems that we carry. So if I've already decided that I know, right? And we all know people with that energy. We all probably had that energy, in all honesty, at some point in our lives. But if we've already decided, I know what's possible for me, I know what's possible here, I know, you're shutting the door. There needs to be this like curiosity and wonder about this thing. There needs to be the allowance of something else to show up. There needs to be the possibility of seeing something that you don't already know. So I'm just gonna challenge you. If you are somebody who believes that you already know everything, you're probably creating exactly those limitations, those blockages that will stop you from creating that life that might bring you tremendous joy. And this could be anything, okay? Like anything. Could be money, it could be relationship, it could be, a friend group, it could be an activity that you don't know about yet. A few years ago when I became single, I met this fellow, and he and I become really great friends. And he exposed me to something that I'd never even thought about before. He and I used to go, we would jump in his car and we would go off and run around in the woods, and we'd look for waterfalls and we'd take pictures and, all of this kind of stuff. I had no idea that this was even a thing. No idea, because it had never happened for me before in that space with this particular person who had already done those things. I was exposed to something that I didn't know was available to me that I enjoyed tremendously. Okay. Could be any number of things. Maybe you meet a friend who really likes to dance and you do a dance class with them and have a great time, or find a place, I don't know, bar or a social club or something like that, where you go and you learn a new type of whatever it is. It could be anything. It could be a new skill set that you'd like to develop. It could be any number of possibilities. Okay. So the key is in being open. The key is in recognizing and understanding that we don't know everything, and that there are things that could change on a dime. So once again, this book right here, this book right here was not even a thing a year. Well, no, it wasn't even a thing a year ago. It was an idea a year ago. Now it's published, it's up on Amazon, it's sold a bunch, all of that kind of stuff. And by the way, if you're at all interested in this book, go to Amazon and it is available. The Kindle is available for 99 cents US until the end of this month. So I'm going to leave that price up all the way through the holidays. You are welcome to go, and I would love for you to go share it with people. Share it with people. It is such a joy. This was a labor of love, and it was something that I had never even considered until, beginning of this year. So possibilities are out there. Things are out there that you could enjoy, that you could create, that you could. What would you like? What would you like to have in your life? What if that were possible? What if that were possible for you and you just don't know it yet? Could you consider that maybe something else would be possible for you? Could you just start with maybe I could enjoy a new activity. Maybe I could write a book. Maybe I could have a completely different life by the end of 2023. Maybe. Start with maybe. Just start there. Okay, so one of the things that I really love this time of year is I have like a certain number of Christmas movies that I watch them every year. It's part of my tradition. And sometimes I watch them with people. Sometimes I watch them by myself. It doesn't matter. It's part of my Christmas tradition because it's something that I enjoy. One of the movies that I really love is Bing Crosby, Rosemary Clooney, Danny Kaye. I can't remember who else is in it. White Christmas. It's a musical, and there's like dancing and show stuff, and but there's also a storyline, right? I love this movie. So one of the things is that Bing Crosby's character is single in this movie. I think they all are, actually, all of the main characters. And he starts to think about possibilities of a different type of life. So there's a song that he sings called Count Your Blessings. If you have never watched this movie, it's a good one. In my humble opinion, anybody should enjoy it, but not everybody enjoys musicals. But just Google White Christmas, Count Your Blessings, and enjoy that song. It's such a beautiful song. So allow yourself to just sort of enjoy that music. There's so much great music this time of the year, isn't there? There's so much stuff, and we don't listen to it most of the year. We don't listen to it most of the year. So what we are going to talk about in our next segment is we're going to talk about this gratitude, this tapping into this joy. We're going to talk about gratitude as a practice, which I know is an interesting idea that a lot of people don't consider. And we've been talking a lot about gratitude this year, partly because of this book. I'm so grateful for the opportunities that have shown up. I'm so grateful for the people in my life who believed in me, and also the people who have come in that I didn't know about, that have been able to support me and help me to make this thing like a real thing, not just an idea, not just a dream, but a real thing. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that in our next segment. If you have not already, I would recommend that you grab yourself a pen and paper, or you go back and you find this episode on your on demand, your favorite on demand channels. We are everywhere. We're also on inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. We're on YouTube. We're on, I don't even know, SoundCloud and so on and so forth, and a bunch of TV, Apple TV. I don't even know what they all are. Go on Google, Time to Rise and Thrive, and you will find all of these episodes. So go back and find this one if you don't have the time or the ability to make some notes. And yes, we'll get into that in just a moment. So thank you. You're with me on Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. And I am your host, Jackie Mott. When we come back, we're going to dig into the how do you do this thing? All right. So stick with us for a moment. We'll be right back.
What do you tell yourself when you are not listening? This question came to Jackie Mott when she was trying to find peace and purpose in the wake of tragedy. She began to understand that a lot of her pain and choices had been the result of how she perceived herself and her place in the world. And she set about creating a new subliminal soundtrack to support her in creating a life of abundance, joy, and fulfillment. To learn how she did that, and how you can too, go to jackiemott.com. Follow her on social media, and join Jackie on Time to Rise and Thrive, Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 Central Standard Time, 11 Mountain Standard Time, and 10 Pacific Standard Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is Time to Rise and Thrive with Jackie Mott. To participate in the program, join us in the chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. For more information about Jackie's programs or to download your free copy of 5 Steps to Create a Mindset Wired for Success, visit JackieMott.com or click the social media links and follow Jackie online. Now, back to the program.
Hello and welcome back to Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I am your host, Jackie Mott. Today we are talking about Christmas. It's the most wonderful time of the year, and how to tap into that energy so that you can start to create something different for yourself, something that would bring you more joy, more laughter, more, more gratitude, more whatever. What would you like? What would you like? And how could your life be different by the end of 2023 if you just opened up to maybe? So one of the things that's been happening recently is I'm working with a nutrition coach. And we're talking about her business. We're working on some ideas for her. And she actually has been presenting me with some ideas that I'm going to share with you right now. We're not going to talk about nutrition, but what we're going to talk about is her philosophy is that tiny changes, small changes, because they compound, right? So small changes over time. So water, drinking enough water, for example, it can seem daunting if you're someone who hasn't, but I have that big water bottle. So I know that I need to drink so many of those bottles in a day. Do you see what I'm saying? So how can you make this easy for you? How can you make small changes that will compound into a better situation, whatever that might be? Maybe you want to be healthier in 2023. Maybe you're like me and you're getting to that age where you're really starting to think about, what can I do now so that I can keep my health as long as possible? What can I do now that will help me to create those healthier habits, right? What can I do now that will help me to create healthier relationships? What can I do now that would help me to create more fun, more joy, more laughter, more whatever? And this is the perfect time of the year. There is just this, like we talk about it, we see it on movies. And I've been watching a lot of Christmas movies. The Christmas spirit, it is a real thing. Okay. The Christmas spirit is a real thing. Whether you're a Christian, it doesn't matter what your religion is, it does not matter. There is this energy that just sort of flows around us at this time of the year. And that's what we're going to tap into, that Christmas spirit, that magic, that, gratitude and joy, and so on and so on and so on. So, gratitude as a practice, I'm going to share this with you because it's something that people seem to get hung up on as I'm working with my clients and speaking with people. There's this idea of, I will be grateful when I have something to be grateful for. Okay, fair enough. But don't you already have a lot to be grateful for in your life? Don't you already have things to be grateful for in your life right now? Don't you already have people? Don't you already have things that, whatever it is, okay? Be grateful now. Don't wait. Don't wait for a reason to be grateful. I promise you, this one practice will change your life. When we turn gratitude into a practice, that opening ourselves up, that thinking about that stuff, it starts to shift the way we think. It creates new neural pathways, in all honesty. It creates those things that allow us to tap into it even more and more and more easily. So how do we start? How do we do this thing? Specific to what we're talking about today, here's what I'm going to give you. First thing I want you to do is make a list. Make a list. Think about, if you were somebody who did the Santa thing when you were a kid like I did, think about it like your Santa list, except we're going to reverse it. It's not the things that we want at this point, not yet. At this point, it's the things we already have. Okay. So this is something, once you get really good at it, like I said, I could get you a mile long inside a few minutes, right? I have a home that keeps me warm and dry. I have food to eat when I need it. I have nutrition. I also have, this time of year, the opportunity to have treats that I wouldn't normally indulge in. I have a car that gets me to where I need to go. I have electricity to power the things that I need powered. I have clothes to wear. It doesn't have to be big. Okay. It doesn't have to be big. And what about the people? What about the people that love you or that you love, or hopefully it's both, right? I have a cute little dog named Riley who brings me laughter every single day of the year. I also have my health, and, I have opportunities. I'm meeting new people all the time. There are new things showing up for me all of the time. So what do you have right now to be grateful for? What things do you have that make your life easier, that make you more comfortable, that, make you enjoy things in a different way? What things do you have? And also, what people do you have? And I want you to dig on this. I don't want it to just be, I have a car. I'm grateful that I have a car, or I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head. That's a great start. But what does it mean to have a roof over my head? Okay. Remember, we create our circumstances to support the belief systems. What does it mean? Right? What does it mean? So, what does it mean that I have a roof over my head? It means that I'm warm. It means that I'm dry. It means that I have a place to gather with my loved ones. It means that I have safety. It means, do you see what I'm saying? So dig into each one of these things, make a list, and then dig into each of them. What does it mean? What does it bring you? What does it give you that without that thing or without that person, you would not have whatever it is? What does it bring you? Okay. And also, how does that make you feel? I was talking about hugs the other day, and Mhm. I'm a hugger. I'm one of those people, right? I'm a hugger, and I really, really love that heart to heart sort of, not that like 3 second, hey, how you doing? Not that, but like that, just let me hold on to you for a minute. Just let me hold on to you for a minute. And I'm probably going to rub your back a little bit because that's what I do. Right. And it's just that warm, yummy thing that happens when you have a good hug. Okay. Who do you get that from? What is that for you? And maybe it's not. I know that there are some people out there who aren't comfortable with physical contact, but what is that for you? And where does that come from? So Kim says, make a list and check it twice. Yes, please. Make your list and check it twice. Be your own Santa. Be your own Santa this year. What would you like to create? All right. So we are going to be specific. We're going to talk about how this makes us feel, what it brings to us, all of that. Now we're going to get into the what would you like to have. So this is where your Christmas list comes in. Okay. This is where your grown up Christmas list comes into play. What would you like to see happen for you in 2023? Or if you're somebody who does the planning and the goal setting and stuff like that, what would you like to see? What is that like? Where do I want to be in 5 years? That sort of idea. Okay. So what would you like to create in your life in 2023, or whatever time frame feels good for you? I like to keep it to 1 year because things change a lot in my life, usually in any 12-month period. So I like to keep it to 1 year, but whatever works for you, pick a time frame. What would you like to see happen in your life inside that time frame? Okay. Now, if you already have the specifics, so what if you would like to start a business or have a different career or any number, right? Like any number of things. What if you would like that thing? Now you're going to reverse engineer it. So if you already have something really specific in mind, maybe you would like to have your own TV show. Well, I know who you can talk to. You can talk to Inspired Choices Network. You can talk to inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. There's a link on there, and you can book a time to have a conversation, probably with Christine. I think that she's still doing that stuff. So if you'd like to have your own show, there you go. Reverse engineer it. What do you have to do first? You need to book a call with the person who can help you explore this. If you would like to write a book, and publish it, what do you need to do in order to have that happen? Reverse engineer it. Okay. Where do you need to start? What can you do? Oh, talk to Kim. Kim, are you the person who's helping with that, helping people with that? Kim is one of our producers. She's fantastic. So talk to Kim, talk to Christine, talk to whomever you need to talk to get your own show if that's something that you want to do. Whatever it is, reverse engineer it. I know that oh, Kim says in her own business, there you go. So she could offer you some support in those areas. And I was just about to say something that went completely out of my head. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is that you would like to create for yourself, reverse engineer it. I've got a couple of coaching programs. So I've made a decision of what I would like to achieve for myself. I've given myself 6 months to do it, and I've signed up for the programs that are going to help me to get there. Do you see what I'm saying? So what would you like? Reverse engineer it. What do you need to do? What are the steps that you need to take? So one of the things that I talk about all the time when I'm talking about the subliminal soundtrack is this idea of, okay, I want you to just be with me for a second. And I want you to imagine yourself standing on a cliff. Okay. You're standing on a cliff, and over on the other side, you see something that you really want. Could be anything: career, relationship, a house, car, and like anything. But you can see it over there. You can see it across there, but there's no bridge. So you can see that thing depending on where you sit. You might see the thing and then go, yeah, but there's no bridge. I have no way to get it. And there was a large portion of my life when I lived like this, and go, okay, well, I can't get to it, so I guess it's not meant for me. And then you go and find something else that maybe there is a bridge, or maybe you can figure it out. Okay. Or what happened for me was I became a person who decided I decided that whatever I can see over there, because I can see it, I can have it. And because I can have it, now I will get busy finding the resources to build that bridge. So do you believe it's possible for you, or do you not? And if you're someone who doesn't, I know somebody that can help you with that. This is what I do. We can shift things around so that you can start to become, if you'd like to, one of those people who's going to find the resources, find the people and the whatever it is that you need to build that bridge to get to that thing that you would like to have on the other side. That is what I do. So on that note, we have to go to our last break. So stick with us. When we come back from this break, we're going to wrap up today's conversation about Christmas, the most wonderful time of the year, and tapping into the joy, the gratitude, the abundance that is all around us inside this Christmas spirit to help you create the things that you would like to create for yourself in 2023. So you're with me on Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I am your host, Jackie Mott. When we come back, we're going to wrap up that conversation. So stick with us for just a moment. We will be right back.
What do you tell yourself when you are not listening? This question came to Jackie Mott when she was trying to find peace and purpose in the wake of tragedy. She began to understand that a lot of her pain and choices had been the result of how she perceived herself and her place in the world. And she set about creating a new subliminal soundtrack to support her in creating a life of abundance, joy, and fulfillment. To learn how she did that, and how you can too, go to jackiemott.com. Follow her on social media, and join Jackie on Time to Rise and Thrive, Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 Central Standard Time, 11 Mountain Standard Time, and 10 Pacific Standard Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
When Jackie's husband ended their 27-year relationship without warning, that conversation was her own personal ground zero. To move forward, she had to clear the rubble, learn who she truly was, and completely rebuild her life. That required her to challenge a lifetime's worth of conditioning and limiting beliefs and recreate herself from the ground up. Jackie has channeled all of that learning and wisdom and shares it to support others who want to break free from limiting beliefs and start living the life they desire and deserve. For more information, go to jackiemott.com or email Jackie directly at jackie@jackiemott.com.
This is Time to Rise and Thrive with Jackie Mott. To participate in the program, join us in the chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. For more information about Jackie's programs or to download your free copy of 5 Steps to Create a Mindset Wired for Success, visit jackiemott.com or click the social media links and follow Jackie online. Now, back to the program.
Hello and welcome back to Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I'm your host, Jackie Mott. Today we are talking about Christmas. Today we are talking about tapping into the joy, the abundance, the gratitude of the Christmas spirit so that you can start to create the things that you would like to create in 2023. So I'm going to share with you that, it's this thing of what you believe to be possible will be possible, right? So if you believe that 2023 could be a year that things open up for you tremendously, guess what you're going to create for yourself? If you believe that there are possibilities out there that magic can show up, what do you think is going to happen? It's all about the energy that we carry. It's all about the choices that we make. So you always have a choice. Always have a choice. You get to show up in whatever way you choose. So you could be joyful, you could be fun, you could be playful, you could wear silly hats. And you should have seen the one I had on yesterday. It was so much fun. You get to decide. Are you going to be playful? Are you going to be joyful? Are you going to be a Grinch? Are you going to be negative? Are you going to be positive? All of that stuff. And I have no judgment. I have absolutely no judgment. You go ahead and choose what works for you. But I will tell you that in my experience, in my training, in my work, in my life, what I have come to understand is that when we choose to create from joy and from gratitude and from love and from abundance, what we create is often so much more yummy and juicy and fulfilling and magical than we could possibly imagine. So if that's something that is of interest to you, then I would encourage you, go find this on Amazon, 99 cents US dollars, whatever, until the end of the month, until the end of the holidays. Go grab it. It's an easy read. It's not very long. And I hope you enjoy it. If I had not, I forgot before we headed to our last break. The last piece of this puzzle is you have to take action. So not only do you have to believe that something is possible, you need to take action. So like I said, if you want to have your own show, find the people that you could have a show with and speak with them. If you want to create a different career for yourself, look into the education. If you want to create a different dynamic in your relationships with your family members, if you want to, do you see what I'm saying? You have to create the possibility, and you also have to be willing to take action when the opportunities, when the resources, when the people show up that can help you with this. So this would not have happened. The Believe All Things Are Possible book would not have happened. It also would not have hit #1 international bestseller unless I took action. If I didn't sit down and actually start writing it. And once I did that, everything started to come in. The publishing company came into place. All of it happened once I took the first step. So sometimes that's where you've got to start. And if all you can do is start with maybe, it's a great place to start. Maybe something wonderful could happen for me. Maybe it's possible for me to have or be or do something that I'm not aware of. And what could shift for me if I embraced that energy and took just one step toward that thing? What could change? What could show up for you? What could be possible for you that you just can't even imagine yet? Yet is the word, my friends. Yet is the word, because it allows for the possibility. I don't know how to get to that thing on the other side of that cliff yet. I know I can get there. I just don't know how yet. All right. So start with maybe. Start with yet. Start with, I'm going to take one tiny step in the direction of my dreams. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to do. And then show up and see what opens up for you as you walk that path. So on that note, my friends, thank you so much. Thank you so much for an amazing year on Time to Rise and Thrive. Thank you so much for being with me today. I wish you whatever holidays are the right word for you. I wish you joy and abundance and laughter and fun and play and all of the yumminess that you can possibly grab onto this time of the year. And I also wish for you that you will carry that energy into your 2023 so that you can create from that abundance and joy and yummy. That's my wish for you. That's my Christmas wish. If I were to make a list today, that would be on it. So thank you again so much for being with me on Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I'm your host, Jackie Mott. And today we've been talking about Christmas. Today we've been talking about tapping into that Christmas spirit. Next week, we will be back Friday, 1 p.m. What is it? 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Central, 11 Mountain, and 10 Pacific or something. You know what your time zone is. So we'll be back here 1 p.m. Eastern. And next week, we have a very special guest. Ranchelle Van Price will be with me next week. And we're going to be talking about some very exciting news. So I hope you will join us next week again on Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. Find the recordings on all of your favorite on-demand channel. Find me at jackiemott.com or on social media. Just search Jackie Mott, Mindset and Empowerment Expert. I'm kind of everywhere. So just go and search for me. You'll find me everywhere. And reach out to me. Have a great week.
Thank you for joining Time to Rise and Thrive. Jackie Mott returns next Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 Central Standard Time, 11 Mountain Standard Time, and 10 Pacific Standard Time. Remember, you can find recordings of previous shows on all of your favorite on-demand channels. You can also find Jackie at jackiemott.com and follow her on social media. We hope you'll join us next Friday. Have a fantastic week, and remember, it's your time to rise and thrive.